What you reading? I'm the AC, and this week I read Junji Ito's manga adaptation of Osamu's Dazai's No Longer Human. Ooh, and this is just the cover. Oh, look at that art. Now, this is a manga that honestly it was a lot. It was a lot to take in. It was heavy. I couldn't put it down. And that little bit you saw in the beginning of this video is pretty much exactly how I felt after finishing it. Now, since this is not normally Junji Ito's writing, he adapted it from someone else. But Junji Ito is one of my favorite mangaka ever. And reading this with his art, it perfectly depicts pretty much what the story would be telling. Now, I never read the original No Longer Human as a novel, but I feel like this is probably a pretty close and pretty faithful adaptation. But while reading it, it's not horror necessarily, but his art depicts the craziness and the madness that the main character is going through. And you kind of forget that maybe this could be one of his original, if I didn't know it already. Man, yeah. Going through the story itself wouldn't justify anything. This is something that definitely needs to be read, but it is definitely heavy. It is not cheerful at all. It was honestly just really depressing the whole time. But what it is about, just for a quick summary, to know the main themes. First of all, this story is kind of autobiographical, or it could be interpreted as perhaps autobiographical, of Osamu Dazai. It was the last thing he wrote and finished before he died. But to start with, the story follows a man named Osamu. He comes from a pretty well-off family, but he never knew how to interact with other people. And one of the big things throughout the whole story is he doesn't know how to understand and talk to people, and he kind of has this fear of human beings. And what it starts off with is already graphic. He's pretty much raped, molested by adults while he's a kid, both man and woman. And he acts like this clown to try to make some kind of connection. And that's what the whole thing is. He feels like he's shameless because he's played this clown kind of character throughout his whole life. But really, at the beginning, it's obviously a clown he's playing, but there's this whole tragic versus comic thing that goes throughout. And it's like he feels like his life is comic, I guess, because he thinks he's this clown that he's portraying in his life, but it's obviously tragic. And he has a fight with addiction, alcohol, eventually other medicines he takes to try to stop being an alcoholic. And then his other addiction is women. And this leads to deaths, a lot. It leads to a whole lot of sex. And eventually he just goes down the spiral of being a madman, of thinking he's losing his mind. He's had multiple failed suicide attempts in the story. Eventually though, he goes to some psych ward, and he seems to be getting better. And he actually meets a character who would be Osamu Dazai. And then they had become friends, and that's where he also talks about he's going to write his next book, No Longer Human, about it. I don't know if the last part of this is in the original No Longer Human. But yeah, it was a book I couldn't put down. But it's not a lively book, but it is an interesting read. Especially if you love the artwork of Junji Ito. But yeah. It is quite the story. I've been looking forward to it for a while. I'm not exactly sure what to expect, but there's a lot in it. A lot I'm not going to say about it because, like I said, it wouldn't justify what's actually in the story. But those are the main themes: madness, tragedy / comedy, women, drugs, the sorts. And I don't know. It leaves you in a mood for sure. But anyways, what do you think? Have you either read a lot of Junji Ito stuff like I have? Have you already known about the original book, No Longer Human? Do you know of any other of Osamu Dazai's works? Let me know. I'm DAC. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.